Well, it looks like Outlander executives are going for the "This Is Us" model. Let's go. Outlander Season 4, Episode 2, Do No Harm. Hey guys, it's Marsha and welcome to Really Seriously For Real. Do no harm. I always thought that phrase appeared in the Hippocratic Oath that medical professionals recite upon graduation. But it's not, though many have adopted it as the unofficial start of the famous oath. The idea is that while you're charged with doing all you can to save a life, you ultimately don't want to do more harm than good in the process. Claire has certainly found herself in more than one situation in which her oath was tested, and this episode would be no different. The riverboat carrying Jamie, Claire, and Ian arrive at Riverrun with the horrors of Stephen Bonnet still fresh in their memories. They're greeted by Jamie's Aunt Jocasta with warmth and love, with both reflecting fondly on Jamie's mother, who's Jocasta's sister Ellen. We learn Jocasta is blind, only able to make out shapes and some colors, though she mentions her hearing is sharper than most, and is quite close to being a lie detector. Her trusted servant Ulysses assists her and gently informs her of her surroundings. They retire inside and Jamie tells Jocasta of their encounter with Bonnet. She comforted them and assured that when they assisted Bonnet, they did what they thought was right, and Bonnet used their kindness. She reassures them and states they may stay at Riverrun for as long as they like. Pays to have family in high places. Actually, it's just nice to have extended family, period. Just after Aunt Jocasta tells Jamie and Claire she's having a gathering at Riverrun in their honor, they're disturbed by a foul odor. Ian comes in with Rollo, exclaiming how some black and white beast lifted its tail and squirted a liquid from its butt at poor Rollo. A skunk. There are skunks in my area. There's literally nothing worse than being woke from your sleep because your windows are open and the putrid stench of a skunk slowly wafts into your bedroom and fills your nostrils because they probably had it out with another animal. And once the smell is in, you're screwed. It just clings to your nose hairs. Sorry, moving on. Ian and Rollo are sent to meet John Quincy Myers, whom Jocasta calls a man of the wild, and he'll be able to get rid of that odor. John and Ian chat a bit, mostly about body hair, but also Indians, or Native Americans, where through Ian's curiosity, John was able to give him a fair account of the natives, explaining that there are different tribes and different ways these tribes encounter people. Ian states that they're no different than any people or clan. I really do enjoy that about Outlander because, look, let's face it, some people can be a little sensitive when you point out that life wasn't rainbows and butterflies for minorities of any kind, but Outlander takes the subject and makes it palatable, relatable, and a teachable moment. Jamie and Claire are escorted to their room where they're introduced to maids Phaedra and Mary. Phaedra addresses her as mistress, and Claire retorts, "Just call me Claire." One look at Ulysses and Phaedra and you knew that was not going to be comfortable. Okay, so make that Mistress Claire, she corrects. Later, Claire and Jamie are walking with Jocasta on the porch. She tells them she grows tobacco, indigo, cotton, and pine. But the most important is a sawmill. We learn she has 152 slaves, which she buys in lots to keep families together. She treats her slaves with kindness, so they're more productive, and notes they're nothing like cattle because they're far more expensive. Ay, ay, ay. You know, this was really a hard review to write. Obviously, I'm black, and overall, I would say I approach life lightheartedly, because I don't like things too serious. So I tend to avoid movies and shows that center around slavery because, look, let's face it, it could be a bit heavy. Especially knowing that this really happened, that people's lives were considered nothing. because they weren't people. That's a tough pill to swallow. So no, this was not an easy review. This was also tough for Claire, knowing that this injustice will be somewhat reversed, but not soon enough. Later, during the dress fitting for the party, Jocasta asks Claire what she thought of Riverrun. Jocasta was so used to people being in awe of her estate, so she kept pressing Claire for an answer when Claire would be vague. After more of a push from Jocasta, when she could hear that Claire was holding something back, Claire states that she doesn't agree with keeping people as property. Jocasta wondered if Claire was a Quaker, as they believed that all men were created equal and no one in that faith were allowed to own slaves. It was an awkward moment because on one hand, you're trying not to offend the homeowner and aunt, and on the other, you don't want to agree with that lifestyle through pleasantries. Not to mention that there were slaves present like Phaedra, who was seemingly friendly and had a candid relationship with Jocasta. But at the end of the day, she's still a slave, so I'm sure she would probably love the idea of freedom. Jocasta mentions a fair description of Claire that she got from Jenny, citing Claire as spirited and headstrong, and had no problem sharing her thoughts on any matter. They laugh when Claire replies that the same could be said of Jenny. Jocasta ended by saying that she had the fire of Mackenzie in her, her smirk implying pride. At the gathering, Claire endured a bullheaded conversation with Lieutenant Wolfe as they spoke of the natives as savages that should be grateful they came and built roads and buildings. Because I guess they were so unhappy before. Anywho, we knew he was going to be one of those guys when we first met him during an earlier exchange with Jocasta and Jamie. He is Jocasta's liaison with the Navy that they have a contract with. He was none too happy when Jamie kind of called him out on a deal he was trying to encourage Jocasta to go with. It's clear he's easily excited. We also learn that he may be vying for Jocasta's attention as well. But in case you're wondering, I disapprove. At this gathering, Jocasta also uses the opportunity to announce Jamie as her heir to Riverrun. Yeah, she kind of pulled a Dougal and a column and made that decision without consulting poor Jamie. And poor Claire was having a breakdown at the mere thought of owning these slaves, but then they think if they're the owners, they could just simply set them free. And Jamie says as much during the meeting with Mr. Campbell as they discussed how this heir thing works. Their faces said it all. Campbell tells Jamie, I know you're not from around here, so I'll basically ignore your ignorance. All right, he didn't exactly say that, but you get it. And then Campbell broke things down on why that's not a good idea. 1. Okay, obviously the first problem is that you'll never be able to run the plantation without slaves. 2. Only the county court can grant freedom. 3. You must prove your slave has performed a meritorious service such as saving a life, like my man Eutroclus. 4. You must post a bond for each slave assuring the slave's good conduct. 5. And lastly, yes Lord, there's more. You need to pay 100 pounds sterling for each slave, which works out to be over 15,000 pounds. It's interesting how they had this system rigged. The backbone of any plantation are the slaves. A prosperous plantation means increased goods. Increased goods mean money. More money means more profit. More profit means we just keep doing what we do. So if you have one benevolent plantation owner willing to either free or pay their slaves, then that plants a seed in the minds of slaves in neighboring plantations, threatening the quote-unquote livelihood of all. And then you could lose everything, including your life, as Mr. Campbell continued. So do nothing, and you're just like them. And you own slaves. Do something, and they make it nearly impossible for it to matter. Perfectly rigged. Jamie is unfazed and still wishes to do the right thing. That land grant from the governor was looking a little extra good. A bit later, his conviction is tested when they learn a slave axed the ear of a man who struck him with a whip. Jamie, Claire, and Campbell race over and find the slave Rufus being hoisted up by a hook buried deep in his belly. Jamie raises his guns, given to him by his aunt, and points it at the men, demanding they lower Rufus. They do so reluctantly, and Claire goes into doctor mode. She has Rufus taken back to Riverrun, and the dining room is turned into a makeshift ER, with the household looking on in disbelief. Jocasta, learning of the situation unfolding, is shocked and worried, rightfully so, because Lieutenant Wolfe and Campbell arrive and demand they hand over Rufus for justice. They ask to have until midnight. The angry mob rolls in, shouting for justice as Claire stabilizes Rufus. She has him moved to her room so he's more comfortable. When asked about his family, he says he has a sister and they were taken from Africa when they were young and sold into slavery. Ulysses gently tells Claire in the hall that although she thinks she's doing the right thing, it would have been better for everyone had Rufus died on the hook. The mob will tear Rufus apart and display what's left as a warning to all slaves at what awaits them. Jamie informs Claire of the deal, but contemplates sneaking Rufus out. But they know that the mob would likely burn Riverrun to the ground before they let what they consider a crime go unpunished. So Jamie suggests Claire aids Rufus' soul to sleep, just like she did for Colum with the tea. As the clock chimed the 12 o'clock hour, Rufus slipped away peacefully while Jamie and Claire prayed over his body. Jamie carried his body and laid him gently at the steps of Riverrun, and the lynch mob wildly slipped the rope around his neck and dragged him without care and hoisted him for all to see. Like I said, it was a hard episode to watch, but I give the show so much credit for the level of care that they've shown. I was also a little annoyed with Claire and Jamie because while you should absolutely stand by your convictions and their issue is noble, but they never think about the bigger picture and what their actions mean for those around them. And you can't come up into someone's house and then start switching the furniture around. Imagine that. You invite someone to stay with you and they decide plates should go in the cup cabinet and cups should go where the bowls are. Okay, I'm being silly, but you know what I mean. Maybe Claire and Jamie should have taken a note from Dougal when he was trying to raise money for the Jacobite cause back in season 1, being a bit more discreet. So, question of the day, and we'll keep it light. What was your favorite Jocasta moment? Now, if you like this video and want to see more Outlander content, go ahead and hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Click the bell so you're always notified when I upload a video. Alright, thanks for watching, guys. Until next time.